Fading supports. Instructional techniques. This video is about fading, the systematic process of reducing your support so the person becomes truly independent. Here's the critical principle I need you to hear. You use prompts only as long as needed for the person to learn the skill. Then you fade them out. By the end of this video, you'll understand that teaching is only half your job. Fading out successfully is the other half. Let's start with why this matters so much. People with disabilities can become dependent on prompts. Read that again. People with disabilities can become dependent on prompts. This is one of the biggest mistakes job coaches make. We provide good support. We help people succeed. But then we don't fade out, and the person becomes reliant on us. Here's what prompt dependency looks like. An employee at a restaurant has been making pizzas for 6 months. They know how to do it. But every single time they make a pizza, they look at the job coach before moving to the next step. They wait for the job coach to nod or say good job before continuing. Why? Because the job coach's approval became the cue to move forward. The employee isn't responding to the task itself anymore. They're responding to the job coach. That's prompt dependency. The job coach's presence became the antecedent that triggers the behavior. Without that antecedent, the behavior doesn't happen. That's prompt dependency. Why does this happen? Because job coaches, especially new ones, provide more support than needed and don't fade it quickly enough. Now you know better. You're going to use the least amount of assistance and you're going to fade from day one. Here's the technical term for what we're trying to accomplish. Transfer of stimulus control. You want to transfer control of the person's behavior from your prompts to the natural cues in the environment. Right now, your prompt is the stimulus that triggers the behavior. What's next? Triggers them to move to the next step. Eventually, you want the completion of the previous step to be the stimulus that triggers the next step. The environment controls the behavior, not you. That's transfer of stimulus control. That's the goal of fading. 3 reasons why fading matters. Reason 1. Dignity and respect. The longer you stay at close proximity, the more the person looks like they need constant supervision. That's not dignified. We want people to look as competent and independent as possible. Reason 2. Sustainable employment. The job coach role is temporary. You're not going to be there forever. If the person can't function without you, the job placement isn't sustainable. Fading ensures they can maintain employment after you leave. Reason 3. Natural workplace integration. Most employees don't have someone hovering nearby all day. If your client does, they stand out. Fading allows them to blend in and be treated like everyone else. So fading isn't just a nice idea, it's essential to the success of the placement. Begin fading from day 1. Day 1. Not day 30. Not after they've learned everything. Day 1. From the moment you start teaching, you should be thinking about how to fade your support. This doesn't mean you abandon them on day 1. It means you're intentional about not creating dependency from the beginning. Example. Your client stocks shelves at a grocery store. As part of onboarding your client to their new job, you teach them where products go using the prompting hierarchy. You might use direct verbal prompts. Place the soup cans on the 3rd shelf. But on day 1, you're also pointing out natural cues. See the label on the shelf? That shows you where the soup goes. Encouraging them to use the shelf labels instead of asking you. Standing slightly farther away than feels comfortable. Looking for coworkers who could answer questions. You're teaching the task and setting up the conditions for fading. Both happen simultaneously from the start. 3 factors to consider when planning to fade. Factor 1. Can the employee independently perform the essential job functions? If yes for a specific task, start fading on that task immediately. Don't wait for them to master everything. Fade task by task. Factor 2. Does the employee know where to seek help from coworkers and supervisors? This is critical. Before you fade, make sure they know who to ask when they have questions. The supervisor? a specific coworker, the shift lead? Establish that from day one. Factor 3. Can the employee initiate work tasks? Can they start working when they arrive? Or do they wait for you to tell them to start? Build independence in task initiation early. If you pay attention to these 3 factors from day one, fading becomes natural and easy. Communicate expectations for fading early. Incremental fading. Fading your physical presence. Now let's talk about the mechanics of fading. How do you actually do it? There are 3 ways to fade: fading prompts, fading incrementally by time, and fading your physical presence. Fading prompts. Up the hierarchy. Remember the prompting hierarchy? Least intrusive to most intrusive? Fading means moving back up that hierarchy. You reduce the level of support. Here's how it works. Week 1. You're using model prompts. You show them how to fold towels at the hotel. Week 2. You fade to direct verbal. Instead of showing, you just tell them. Fold the towel in half, then in half again. Week 3. You fade to indirect verbal. You ask, how do you fold this towel? Week 4. You fade to natural cue. They see the unfolded towel and automatically fold it. No prompt from you. That's systematic fading up the hierarchy. You don't fade the whole job at once, you fade step by step. Look at your task analysis. Maybe steps 1 to 3 the person has mastered. Start fading prompts on those steps while still providing support on steps 4 to 7. Your data collection shows you where to fade. If someone is completing a step correctly for 3 consecutive trials with just an indirect verbal, try fading to no prompt. See what happens. If they succeed, great. You've faded on that step. If they struggle, go back to indirect verbal for a few more days, then try again. Incremental fading over time. You also fade by gradually increasing the time between when they need help and when you provide it. This is called incremental fading. You fade by minutes, then hours, then days, then weeks. You're still available if there's a problem, but you're systematically reducing your on-site presence. Create a fading plan. Put it in writing. Fading your physical proximity. This is about where you stand while you're still on site. Stage 1. Right next to them. You're shoulder to shoulder while they work. You can see every detail. You can prompt immediately. Stage 2. A few feet away. You're close enough to see what they're doing, but not right on top of them. They have some physical space. Stage 3. Across the room. You're in the same area, but not immediately nearby. You can see them from a distance, but they have to seek you out if they need help. Stage 4. In a different area of the workplace. You're on site, but not in their work area. You're in the break room or at a desk or somewhere else. They know how to find you if needed. Stage 5. Off-site but available by phone. You're not physically present. They can call or text if they need you. Each stage represents more independence. Move through these stages based on how the person is performing. How do you know when to fade proximity? When the person is performing the task correctly and independently for several consecutive trials, start increasing distance. If you increase distance and performance drops, move back closer for a few more days, then try again. Always be fading, but be responsive to what the data shows you. Building natural supports. Here's something critical to understand. You are not the end goal of support. Natural supports are the end goal. What are natural supports? Natural supports are the existing social supports in the work environment that are available either informally from coworkers and peers, or formally from supervisors and company-sponsored programs. In other words, the normal help that any employee gets at work. Think about your own work experience. When you have a question, who do you ask? A coworker? A supervisor? HR. The person who's been there longer than you. That's natural support. It's built into the workplace. Your job as a job coach is to help your client access those same natural supports. Why natural supports matter, because they'll be there after you fade out. Coworkers don't leave. Supervisors don't fade away. They're permanent parts of the workplace. The fading process is more easily accomplished if natural supports are incorporated from the first day. Don't wait until you're ready to fade to start building natural supports. Start day 1. By teaching your client to use cues naturally present in the environment and to seek help from coworkers and supervisors, you're implementing a coaching plan that will be easily faded. Important mindset shift. Your goal is not to be indispensable. Your goal is to make yourself unnecessary. The best job coaches fade out so smoothly that after a few months, it's like they were never there. The employee is working. The coworkers help when needed. The supervisor provides normal supervision. Everything is natural. That's success. Let's review what you learned today. First, people can become dependent on prompts if we don't fade systematically. The goal is transfer of stimulus control, moving from your prompts to natural environmental cues. Second, begin fading from day 1. Don't wait. Plan for fading from the moment you start teaching. Third, fade systematically in 3 ways. Fade prompts up the hierarchy, fade incrementally over time, and fade your physical proximity. Always be data-driven. Fourth, build natural supports from day 1. Coworkers, supervisors, and workplace systems are the sustainable support, not you. Here are your key takeaways. Prompts are temporary tools, not permanent solutions. The goal is independence, not dependence on you. Fade as soon as possible while maintaining quality performance. Natural supports are the foundation of sustainable employment. Your success is measured by how smoothly you fade out. Remember this: the job coach role is temporary, but the impact is lasting. You're teaching skills that will serve this person for years. You're building independence that changes lives. And you're creating connections to natural supports that sustain employment long after you're gone. That's the work you're doing. That's why fading matters. Congratulations! You've completed the Instructional Techniques series. You now know how to break down jobs, assess what to teach, use the prompting hierarchy effectively, and fade your support systematically. These are the core teaching skills of job coaching. Practice them, use them, and watch people become increasingly independent. In our next videos, we'll move into other aspects of job coaching, but everything you've learned in this series forms the foundation of your work. Great job! See you in the next video.